Hello, my biddies. How are you today? I'm good. I hope everybody had a good weekend. I did. I didn't do much. Husband ended up going to kazoo again. Yeah, I know you know that. I was on here Sunday. Um, Yesterday was pleasant. It was beautiful outside. Went outside. Boys made a new friend. The neighbors are watching their nephew um, over the summer because his parents are working, of course. I forgot my drink. Um, so he came over. He's about the same age as um, BW. I'm not going to say his name, but it makes me think serial killer. And no, it's not Jeffrey. It's a good serial killer. Think of all the good serial killers you can think of, literary wise. Yep, that's the one. Um, they're so funny. Uh, WB wanted me for something, and I was texting my daughter, and I said I'll be right with you. I'm texting Aunt Lauren. And he says Gabe's friend. No, Gabe's wife. So yeah, that was that was cute. He's two. He's so funny right now. The older one's funny too. He did not want to behave. He wanted to go outside right away, and it was like 11 o'clock. And as you know, because of this show, I eat at 11 o'clock. I eat lunch at 11 o'clock, and I kind of try to keep that in line with um, at least on Monday. On weekend, my husband gets to dictate where we eat. So I was hungry and I needed to eat before we went outside. And then we went outside and they broke chalk. They didn't draw much, but they broke a lot of chalk. And little D came over and they met him. I think he'll be over a lot. That's fine. I might have gotten some work for my daughter-in-law, so that's good. What else? What else happened yesterday? Not much. It's, they're putting the final touches on that house. Calls at like 10:30 last night and says it's leaking. Like, what do you mean it's leaking? Like, I just got water dumped on me from when I was downstairs. All they can figure is that the refrigerator condenser overflowed. It doesn't look like it does it or anything. There's no water damage there or anything. So I don't know. That house and its leaks. It was a 1920s house. So, but it had a lot of leaks. The shower was leaking. There was leaks in the basement. It was bad. I think he got them all fixed now. I hope so. I hope so, because they're gonna put it on the market. And if anybody's in Kalamazoo wants a new house or wants an a new to you house, it's not a new house. It's a new to you house. Um, there's one on the market in a nice neighborhood. I know there's neighborhoods that aren't as nice in Kalamazoo, but this one's in a nice neighborhood. I think you'll like it. I think you'll like it. Um, the realtor does expect it to go really fast because it's bigger than a lot of the houses in the neighborhood, and people are wanting in that. There was one house that went like the first showing it went, so it's pretty good, especially right now. We're in the housing market's kind of down a little bit, so we have high hopes. Especially my son who wants to get paid. All right, so we'll start with our bad reviews, our bad reviews. Um, Still on Acadia Park. This is from Michael G. This place has been quite disappointing. Aside from a 10-minute cruise along the admittedly scenic coastline and the decent view from Cadillac Mountain, the highlight was the small park Small playground, our toddler. Otherwise, you have to contend with large crowds everywhere you go, from lookouts to restaurants. I don't know what you expect on a holiday weekend, basically, September 1st, 2023. Um, that's like still summer, dude. Everybody's getting their last push in before the kids go to school. So I don't know what you expected, sir. We attempted to rent bikes to explore the carriage roads, but it's a challenge if you haven't made a reservation in the back, especially with a toddler in tow. Oh my, you didn't plan ahead? And this is a problem for who? Oh, you and you alone. Plan ahead. It's not that hard. Even once you have a bike, you're forced with the choice of taking overcrowded bike shuttles into the park or pedaling uphill for several miles just to reach the park entrance with no good views in sight for miles. Sky. Oh, there are better bike paths in my local greenway. Oh, well, why don't you go home and use those then, sir? This is not your backyard. This is a national park. It is wilderness, sir, not urban. If you're hoping to spot any wildlife, good luck. Well, yeah, I mean that usually happens when it's a crowded weekend at a national park or any other park you go to. The animals are not going to show up when there's a lot of people around. True. Although some of the animals get used to the people. There's plenty of birds. There's birds, there's butterflies, there's bugs, there's lots and lots of bugs. Went to Mount Rainier. Yeah, there were a lot of people around. It was fine. You might be better off at Baxter State Park where you're likely to see some moose, or perhaps save your money and visit Yellowstone instead. I don't think you'd save any money visiting Yellowstone, sir. Yellowstone's pretty expensive. I don't know what these people expect from a nature area, you know? Like, what do you expect from that? Oh yeah, I don't have any reality TV, but I am done with my project that I was doing that was taking up all my time, so that I didn't even clean up the house really for the last several weeks. Um, so that's off my table. I have to submit it, and then I have another project I want to do. That one's for me though. I can take it at my own pace. Next, we have Traumatize Them Back, and it's entitled Shocking Mom with the Truth About Assault. My MAGA mom was, what about all the illegal immigrants R-ing people? I'm not going to put that word in this early because um, YouTube has bots that will like the feed and they can like take it down. So we're not going to do that. I asked her how many women she knows who were assaulted by illegal immigrants or assaulted by anyone, period, that she is aware of. She admitted she didn't know any. My reply was, well, I personally know 5 women plus me, your own daughter, who were definitely, and every single one was perpetrated by a white American male. Man. She said man. I say male because they don't deserve to be humanized. She said she was flabbergasted is an understatement. This is not a shot at white American men. A lot of them are amazing, but this is reality for the most women I know, including myself. Well, yeah, we all know who perpetrates the most crimes in this country. Tangled Up Puppeteer says, you don't know me, but you can add 10 women I know, including myself, to that list. Also, show her the names on the Epstein file. I don't see a lot of illegal people, just white men doing illegal acts. Musketeers answers that with rich white men. Yes. Very, very, very wealthy white men. Not your average well-to-do white man. Deleted says, me too, beaten and essayed repeatedly. White, well-off, powerful man. Someone out there answers, you can add myself and most of my friends and sisters. Almost every woman I know has been essayed, if not really essayed. 9 times out of 10, it's a white man. My rapist was a white man. My See, I did it anyway. My physically, emotionally, SAX was a white man. I was also assaulted by white women. One was an adult, and the other was just a couple of years ago. A full-grown white woman in public. Let me tell you, I froze in shock. So she's a freezer. You have four reactions to someone attacking you: flight, which means you try to run away; fight, which means you try to fight back. Um, I forgot the third one. Fight, flight. Uh, oh, freeze. It white flight, which means you run away. Fight, which means um stay and fight. Fawn, which means you just like disassociate and like don't do anything. You like literally can't move. And fawn, which means you try to turn them around to your um to see you as a human, basically. You lean into it and like at least you won't get hurt that way as badly a lot of times. Unless he's just out to do damage. Do more damage than needed. None of it's needed, but I think you know what I mean. The second top rated comment says from deleted, I'm a brown man and I was essayed by white people as a child and as an adult. Yes, essay can happen to men also. Don't think you're immune, white man. Evening Wisteria says, question, but what TF do you do if your mom is an immigrant woman, a essay victim, and still won't back down with the MAGA BS? It's been hard for me to reckon my own essay, let alone my mom is fine with this administration and their connections or egregious behavior. She has the nerves to say that Kamala slept her way to the top, as if that's worse than sexual assault. I'm tired, Grandpa. Kind Substance says not saying Kamala did, but usually if a woman sleeps her way to the top, it means men in power withheld promotions and career advancements to coerce female colleagues into sex acts. 100% true. The Alchemist says, I never thought of this side. Holy crap, that puts things in a new perspective to me. Thank you for saying this. So I've been saying it for a while now. It's still not on the women because the power isn't with them. Power is with men, specifically the white man. Next, we have what should I do? And it says, my mom has been cheating on my dad for years. Anyone know what I should do? It says, to start this off, I'm 14. Oh, you poor thing. Poor little thing. You're a baby. I've known about this since I was probably around 10. That's horrible. I've told a few family members and friends, such as my cousins and grandma. I told my aunt, dad's sister last year, and then she told him. It was a whole thing. It ended with my mom saying nothing was going on. Sure, huh? I first found out about one day when I was using her and notification popped up. I tried to swipe away, but accidentally opened it and began snooping little child I was. I mean, everybody would. Don't say you wouldn't because you know you would, especially if you saw something that you weren't, that you knew was not right, that you knew was wrong. You would do it because you want to know. I looked into it further and saw things I couldn't unsee. I wish I could unsee. Since I got a phone, I've been periodically checking hers to see what's going on. She lets me use her phone whenever and taking pictures of the messages whenever I come across anything suspicious. I've known about this for 4 years now, but I've never said anything because of how much it would wreck my dad. I'm much closer to my dad than I am with my mom. Well, of course you are. Your mom's not a good person. And after what happened with my aunt told happened when my aunt told my dad what I told her. I'm worried about what would happen to him if he fully found out about this. So after what happened last year, my mom told the guy about what happened, and they both said they were friends. Yet the way they talk to each other speaks volumes. And going through the messages, they have definitely met up and sent stuff to each other. All the while, my mom was with my dad, but I'll include screenshots and names are blurred. He calls my mom beautiful most of the time anyway, so not much to blur. So here are the pictures that she took. Some kind of cat thing and a pickle. I don't know if we'll ever get together and have relations. I don't feel comfortable going to the Radisson Motel. That's clearly the Radisson. I'm calling it the Radisson. I don't think you needed to do that. That's weird. A lot of bad crap happens there. A coworker of mine has a friend that lives near there, and it just seems to be getting worse. Maybe I can find a decent motel room in Hamilton for us to meet. Let me look, and I can let you know. That's clearly Hamilton. That may not be Radisson, but that's clearly Hamilton. Thanks, beautiful. The first one was hilarious. The second one I knew was very sexual, and I know that you were saying about my pickle. The third one was cute and hilarious. And there's a cat, the VW bug. This is cat lovers, and it looks like a cat, and it's clearly AI. Impossible not to laugh. Thanks, beautiful. That was hilarious. I never promised that I had a huge one, just one that was good enough to make you happy. Ew. He's talking about his peeper, as the kids call it. His peeper. I'm good. I'm a little tired. Are you working today? No. Work today. No work today. Are you working today? No, I have a sick child, nasty sinus infection. I hope she gets better. Did you get an injection from Dr. Jekyll? She has a button. I see you're thinking about it. Weird. I don't know. That's weird. Oh, do you need an injection from Dr. Jekyll? Thanks, beautiful. First one was hilarious. Why does he start every sentence like that? That's weird. Every text exchange is started like that. Child played with the dogs. I'm hoping that's just the dog's toy balls. The second one was funny, Johnny Cash singing Barbie World. Third one was hilarious, the dog's new hairstyle. Last one was hilarious with all the different dog fails. Back to the first video, do you want to play with mine? About Steve Cousins thinks beautiful. That was hilarious. See, every time you're still thinking about my pickle being inside you again, naughty girl. Thanks, beautiful. The first one was hilarious. The dog loves being on the swing, and this is weird. The second one was funny. The guy didn't know much about his wife's cycle. I remember being in Tobermory with you, and you were having cramps. We went to the store to get you Midol. Also, before we had it, had the horizontal bop, or maybe it was just after I looked at you in the library to read about some horizontal bop stuff you didn't know. After the first time I was in, ooh, okay, I'm not finishing that. He's gross. These are just gross. They're gross or they're stupid. I'm not reading these. You can screenshot or stop it if you want. This guy's wow. Yeah, your dad needs to know this, honey. Your dad needs to know. That is not acceptable behavior by somebody. The top comment is from Froggy the Franken with WTF is that weird period message. Yeesh. Lila Sweetwater says that I took you to the library to read about some bop stuff you didn't know. Like, bro, what? Like I said, it's still in the first like 20, 30 minutes. Sometimes I can't say stuff. No friend. Capital letters. What are these messages? Well, P says exactly what I keep asking myself when I was reading them. A 14-year-old should not be reading that. A 14-year-old does not need to be reading that. Uh, Gothi was better, answered her. Out of curiosity, could you roughly describe what the guy wrote this cringe crap looks like? My imagination is running wild. She says he's kind of ugly. Think Ginger has a beard. Kind of an old dude face. He wears glasses. Somebody says you can't see his profile picture. I'm not going back to look at that crap. Third top rated comment is imagine nuking your marriage and your family for a guy with a second grade education and a pickle dick. Haunting Angle says this comment needs to be higher. Fathead says I'm doing my part. There you go. Fourth rated comment. Show your father and release yourself of this adult burden. Try to enjoy your teenage years as much as you can and be sure to carve out a life for yourself with some distance from your family. OP says, I don't like my mom's side of the family as it is. They're always rude to my dad for no reason. My mom's brother literally accused my dad of buying drugs when he asked why he had taken out so much money. We were getting our roof redone and they didn't want to help with the cost. Well, they shouldn't have to help with the cost. That's up to your parents to get their roof redone. Don't buy things you can't afford. Malicious. This is from Malicious Compliance entitled "Boss said I can't just disappear from my desk, so now I send him a message every time I leave." We had a team meeting where my boss said people are just getting up and disappearing without telling anyone, and it's unprofessional. It's not. They'll be back in a minute, or they'll tell somebody, or you could text them and ask them. So now I message him on Teams every single time, stepping away for restroom, going to grab coffee, printer run. I don't wait for a response, I just let him know. Last week I sent him 9 messages in one day. On Friday he replied, "You don't need to tell me every time you move." I said, "I just want to make sure I'm being professional like you asked." He hasn't brought it up since. Important Art said, "I had a boss like this too that tried to keep tabs on me, so I would put a message up that said things like going to the bathroom, going to get an aspirin, going to get feminine product for my car, etc." She finally came and just put up a message if I'm going to be gone for any significant length of time. None of Dabov says define significant. Exactly. Comerica says exactly my first thought. Anicia Jones says my former boss did this, and the problem child to whom this was directed did the same. He was the king not only of malicious compliant but weaponized incompetence as well. Comerica answers, this is what bugs the wang out of my managers. Out of me about managers. My old one would do this crap too. Too afraid to have a grown up convo in a constructive way privately with the one problematic employee. Is this like all managers? Because it's every manager I've ever had, even the good ones. Nope. They just vaguely address an entire group about problem one person is doing. In almost every instance, the problematic employee just ignored it because, well, it wasn't directed to me. And the good employees then start rethinking their behavior if they're doing something wrong. Exactly. Like, was that directed at me? Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Can you tell me what I did wrong? Because I don't understand this message at all. Funny CPA says, oh my goodness, I was just thinking about how often I've been asked to create a dress code or something. And the reason is always because Sarah keeps wearing Uggs to work. Okay. Have you tried telling Sarah that Uggs are not professional? No. Okay. It's definitely make everyone mad instead of just Sarah. Right? This is from Evil Buildings, and it is Shaoyang Park Plaza in Beijing. Oops. Now that is an evil building. That looks terrifying. What even is that? It looks like it's almost like a spaceship on its side waiting to take off so it can go to another planet. Goodbye, whoever lives in that building. Van Buskirk says somebody called Baron Harkonnen. Conan Sand says, "My Dune, my Chinese building." That's appropriate. Username checks out for sure. Okay, Stuvie says it really weird. It looks like this. Oh, that's a totally different building. Oh, come on. That's BS. I guess I can't show it to you because I'm getting some kind of weird thing on it. Won't let me show me the whole thing. That's what it normally looks like. It's still pretty evil looking. Chivako says this pic is great and still quite sinister. Yes, exactly. Killer Spiler says, like straight from a dystopian sci-fi movie. It's Darko from SimCity 2000. Are you familiar with SimCity 2000? SimCity was a great, great, fantastic game if you're not familiar. Youngsters might not be familiar. It was fabulous. Very well done game. Next, we have AITAH. AITAH for explaining the consequences of his actions to my son. My family lives in Canada. This is important. My kid was bullied at school. He's a big kid, and I've always told him to resolve his problems with words. I've told him to report bullying to teachers, even and if they don't listen to the principal. Also, to tell me his mom so we can follow up. My son's after school program is a taekwondo class, also important. He's been in taekwondo since he was in kindergarten. He also plays hockey. There are a group of kids at his school that have been a-holes to my kid and his friends. My kid did the right thing and told the teacher monitoring recess. She told him that the kids were new to Canada and that they didn't know how to fit in yet. Everybody knows, I'm sorry, but I don't care where you're from. Don't bully people. He went to the principal and got told pretty much the same thing, so he told his mom. She wanted to confront the parents and she likely would have ended up in custody. She's Irish, like real Irish from Ireland, not Marky Mark Irish. I told her I would take care of it. I made an appointment to talk to the principal and teacher along with my son. I went to the meeting with a simple goal to stop the bullying. The principal and teacher tried the same excuse on me. These kids are newcomers and they weren't fully aware of how Canada was different than their country and what they saw on American TV. Wrong. Wrong. I asked what was being done to stop it. They said they had talked to the boys. I asked if the parents had been brought in to talk to. They said no. Okay, so I turned to my kid and I explained that in Canada, kids under 12 years old cannot be charged with a crime. In fact, they can't even be arrested. Worst case scenario, if anything happened, he might have to do some community service. The principal and teacher went crazy telling me that I can't tell him that. Asked them if I was lying. They both shut up. I pointed to them and told my kid to remember that they didn't say I was wrong. I told him to tell me in a week if he was still being bullied. My understanding is that all the bullies' parents were called in and told to control their children. The bullies were also given library detention instead of recess for a month. That seems like a lot. Must have been really bad. I'm satisfied with the result, but the teacher and principal seem upset. My wife thinks I should have given him the information privately. No, no, he did the exact right thing. The exact right thing. You're not going to do anything about my bullying? Watch this, because you need to know what's going to happen when my kid goes nuclear on those other kids because he's sick and tired of this crap happening. We had a bullying incident in our family. The neighbor kids were bullying my kids. They didn't even really live there. They were staying there with their aunt, who I liked. I liked her. I liked that most well, except for the youngest kid. The youngest kid was a little terror. But it was a nice family, all in all. And the older kid they were all three of the kids were over at our house constantly, and my kids went over there. They had a pool. They didn't hang around pool, so my kids were always over there playing around the pool. So, she moved in her nieces and her sister, and they were typical bullies. They were jealous. They were jealous because they had a terrible life. I get it. It's fine. But uh not an excuse. Not acceptable. They would follow them home. One of them was old enough to grab stalking charges if she didn't stop, to be honest. Um, we I kept going to the principal and I kept telling him, you got to do something about these kids. He's like, there is nothing I can do. I have called them and called them and called them. They will not pick up the phone. They will not come in for a meeting. They will ignore me. He said, go to the police, make a police report. So I did. I did. And strangely, the bullying kind of stopped after that. Strange how that happens. Like they did awful things. My husband made a snow fort one year with boards in it and everything to kind of keep it up. And they came over and threw rocks at it and stomped on it, like broke the board, just to be mean, vicious kids. Don't do that. It's wrong. Stop it. Okay. So I say this guy did the exact right thing. Principal wasn't on his side. Look, you need to know what's going to happen. So you need to fix this problem. They hadn't even had the parents in. Like, what the heck? Either movie says, no, I think you did good by your son. You asked appropriate questions. You asked that more be done. And when the school showed little to no willingness to step up, you informed your son that he could stand up for himself. More importantly, you put the school on notice without uttering a threat or a single word that, for that matter. Human Lab says, I would never. That's the OP. It says, I would never. uh, Mujutsu says, you. I like you. I like him too. I think he did perfect. Spy5 says NTA, this is hilarious. Saul Alonsky is quoted as saying, the threat is usually more terrifying than the thing itself. That's true too. Ice Seeker says OP delivered that threat successfully. The fact that he had to resort to this shows how inefficient the school was. They don't care about the students, but if their school's reputation is at risk, they'd do anything to preserve it. What a joke. Purple Outside says NTA. I'm also Canadian and I work as a consultant in the school system. The school simply did not care to step in and act because they hate having to deal with parents telling their kids they are a-hole bullies. No, seriously, this is the reason. I've interviewed and had dozens of meetings across multiple school teams. This is a chief common factor. You didn't encourage violence, you simply explained that the legal reality of things after the school repeatedly failed you to protect your child. The moment administrators hide behind excuses instead of stopping bullying, the parents are allowed to be blunt. The fact that action only happened after that conversation proves the system wasn't working. They are clearly TAH, and you definitely escalated the situation where it needed to be for them to act. OP says, when I was growing up, there was a different group in my city as refugees, and their parents were awesome. I'm still friends with some of those guys. But man, oh man, the kids from that group were well behaved. I want to know where these kids are from that they think they can get away with bullying people. Like, you're the newbie here, dude. You need to step up and start behaving. Next, we have Neighbors from Holland. It's entitled, My Neighbor has been documenting me for 3 months, and I only just found out why. I moved into my current place about 8 months ago. From week one, I noticed the guy across the hall, mid-50s, would sometimes open his door right as I was leaving mine. I thought it was just timing at first, then I started noticing it as the phone out every single time. I didn't say anything because I genuinely thought I was being paranoid, like maybe he was just checking messages or whatever. Then my friend came to visit and pointed it out immediately and said, that man just filmed you. I still talked myself out of it because what reason would he even have? 3 weeks ago, I ran into the woman who lives one floor up, and we got to talking, and she mentioned him casually. He has been reporting residents to the building for supposed lease violations and had been doing it for years. Apparently, he keeps a personal log with photos and videos as evidence. She said 2 people had actually received formal warnings based on his submissions, one of them for having a guest stay more than the allowed number of nights per month. I went, what kind of apartment has a restriction on the number of nights a month a person can stay? That's weird. I went home and looked at my lease properly for the first time. It has this clause about nuisance behavior that is so vague, you could apply it to basically anything. I've had friends over on the weekend. I've received deliveries. I park in my spot, but sometimes slightly uneven, which apparently he documented with timestamp photos. Last week, I got a letter from the association saying that there had been a complaint regarding repeated disruptions from my unit. I work from home. I don't play music loud. I don't have parties. I responded in writing asking for specifics, and they said the complaint was under review. I knocked on his door to talk, and he opened it about 4 inches and looked at me and said, "I'd prefer you contact me in writing and shut it." I genuinely don't know what to do. I became this project, but I feel like I'm living in some low budget surveillance state, and I haven't slept properly in a week. That's hard. Devil's advocate says filming you is nuisance behavior. And OP says, right, but HOA calls it evidence. How do I stop it? Eki Flump says, this is harassment at this level, and if they are condoning it, they are complicit and will be co-defendants. Hedwig Flies again says, it is stalking. He's reporting issues, so he's paying very close attention to everything OP is doing. It's very stalkerish, if not stalking. Orion Me says, after reading down the chain of responses, my first question, exactly how does he know when you are leaving your apartment every time to be instantly available for the star-studded film director appearance for his documentation if you are leaving? There has to be some mechanism alerting you to his intentions. Check around for this. Does he have a window where such could be placed? This would help in establishing stalking issues. Talk with the local police about this pervert. Maybe you could even have one come to your apartment for a simple safety check of surroundings, then build your case reporting him to the HOA and give him at least a cease and desist demand letter. Have a good rest of your day. I think she should send a letter anyway. Stop filming me. Stop filming me now. I don't want you filming me anymore. Stop it. Two teeth per bite says you could open and shut your door several times a day without actually leaving, making him waste a lot of time trying to film you and not getting anything. Dimitar Todarchev says he'd probably film that and report it as erratic behavior. And LAJ answers, at which point the stalker neighbor has just revealed themselves to be actually stalking OP. Let's say OP does this only about 1 or 2 times and records it themselves. How ridiculous would the stalker look when they reported it? Or you could do that. Just start opening and closing your door and standing there and filming while he opens his door and films. That would be hysterical. Boring experiences. Write a letter to the HOA stating that the actions of your neighbor is making you feel very unsafe and you need their help. Point out that your 50-plus neighbor keeps video recording your movements as well as those of your guests, and it comes off very predatory and makes you feel unsafe in your home. They are 1, repeatedly filming you every time you open your door, 2, tracking your movements intentionally, 3, zooming toward your doorway interior, 4, feel like you're being followed around with a camera. Oh, there's another thing. If he's filming inside her doorway, you could put up stuff that would just drive him nuts. This now has you feeling like you're being harassed, stalked, and an invasion of your privacy violates the HOA nuisance clause. Point out the specifics from your HOA rules he's violating. Nuisance behavior, harassment between residents, conduct that disrupts quiet enjoyment. Then sit back with some popcorn and watch the show. They will have to get their legal team involved as all the correct buzzwords that are in that statement, plus puts the HOA into a punitive situation if they ignore the complaint. If the HOA wants to accept his video evidence to issue fines, then they have to accept the responsibility of what his actions cause. That's excellent. Their top rated comment is from Total Flax, and it says, make a complaint about stalking, get a restraining order. Brambone says, do this very loudly. He says that. Do this. You will benefit greatly from creating a paper trail. You are being stalked, harassed, and you will be given automatic temporary restraining order against this perpetrator. If he violates the TRO, which is honestly fairly likely, he's committing a crime. He himself says he prefers communication from you in writing. Hoist him by his own petard. His own pitted. It's supposed to be petard, I'm positive. If he has any smarts at all, he will know to stop trifling with you. And Barrett of Poodle says petard. And Bram says it's autocorrect. Of course, because of course it is. Dang autocorrect. Can't take it anywhere. Next, I have Benign Existence entitled Watch a Little Kid Repeat Her Pun Increasingly Loudly So No One Because No One Noticed. Aw. Working in the beauty aisle of the department store near the Elf Cosmetics, ELF. Elf, I call it Elf. Little girl, maybe 5 or 6, with 2 elderly folks pass by. Lady says, generally, do we need anything else from this aisle? The little girl points at the ELF display. No, Grandma, I don't need anything else. Silence. Grandma continues to shop. Kid louder. I said I don't need anything else. No response. Kid even more insistently. Did you hear? I said I don't need anything else. Like else. No idea if her caretakers eventually heard her pun, but I didn't. I couldn't stop giggling. Very relatable human moment. She's good. She's only 7 and she's already got Pride of Pucky says, I can't believe I have a daughter out there I never knew about. OP says, such a universal feeling telling a joke when no one's paying attention. It's almost more crushing than people did hear her but didn't find it funny. That's true. I hate it when people don't laugh at my jokes. My jokes are funny. At least to me they are. Other people think I'm funny too. It's fine. Whiskey Sunshine says, I'm an aunt and my niece is funny as heck. She's blind in one eye. Oh, we're doing a 500-piece crossword puzzle. I couldn't find many teeny pieces that fit. I was convinced ones were missing. She successfully finished it and said in the most brazen way, I have an eye for this. Wait, that girl will go far. That girl will go far. She's good. She's good. She has a sense of humor about her disability. She will go far. I'm not saying that, says. One time I saw a kid do a perfect water bottle flip and landed on its base, and he was so thrilled, but the other kids weren't paying attention. I think about that a lot. Caleb Zed says, there's a Bluey episode like this. Handstand. Bingo, the 4-year-old keeps trying to get someone else at a party to see her handstand, but whenever she gets it, no one is looking, and her grandmother keeps trying to find a way to be useful, but no one needs her for anything, and eventually they find each other. Aw, that's sweet. I love Bluey, by the way. Bluey's awesome. Next we have Found Staten, and it says a canine's jump scare. Scary movies should put on high-pitched sounds only dogs can hear, so your dog will start acting crazy for no reason at the scariest parts. Um, GHT says, slight problem. Unless you have a decent sound system, your speakers likely not be able to produce such frequencies at any reasonable volume. Ralphie says, bro, your dog didn't react to a movie. Man, your system sucks. Edited ad back in the movie rental days. This would be a perfect opportunity for a stereo retailer to seed video rental places with detuned movies with the high harmonics removed. Harder to do in the days of streaming. Perhaps a pirate site with detuned videos. Frank the guy says, smoke alarm chirp will do that to my dog. Even a low volume one in the background of a video being played up from my phone. That'll drive me nuts. JVMM says, that's just so mean to the dogs. Come on. LP says, the trick was used until recently in movie theaters during horror movies. There's a famous series called Evil in an episode where it was used this trick in a truly sinister extent. I don't know anything about that. I don't watch those kind of movies. I can make up enough in my head. I don't need to. I read scary stories, but I will not watch scary movies. I think the aphantasia might have something to do with it. I'm not sure. Next, we have Just No Mill. Mother-in-law found out we're married. Oops. Okay, for context, we were not trying to keep it a secret. She just wasn't invited to the wedding because my husband doesn't really have a relationship with his mother, sister, and brother. I posted about my mother-in-law a few times here. Her husband is a scapegoat of the family. His mom canceled Thanksgiving in 2024, then supposedly had a change of heart but forgot to invite him. That was pretty much the breaking point for him. He stopped initiating contact to check in and help family out when they needed, and realized the only time they called him was to ask for loans, money they had no intention of ever paying back, or favors. No, they weren't asking him for loans. They were asking him for payments. He stopped accommodating them. You need $500? Sorry, man. Had to get my car fixed. I'm broke at the moment. You need me to babysit Friday and Saturday night? Sorry, I have traveling that weekend for a work conference. Since April of last year, he hasn't heard anything from them at all because they realized he wasn't their doormat anymore and stopped contacting him to ask for things. We had a small intimate ceremony in October, less than 20 people. And it was his choice not to invite them since he decided the only relationship he had with them was him being a tool they utilized. And they stopped reaching out once they got the message. That dynamic was over. Basically, he was no contact by circumstance, not by choice. Last week, I updated my Facebook profile with one of us at our wedding. His family is blocked from all of my social media, but I guess word got around to them. She showed up at our home this weekend demanding to know why she wasn't invited. I mean, that was of him, etc. He told her, "Sorry, I guess I just forgot." Oh, it literally says LMAO. She started screaming, "Oh, so it's about Thanksgiving? Grow up." She told her that it was actually because the 6 months leading up to the wedding, they never reached out and clearly didn't care about his life. Then she tried blaming me for changing him. Yes, I did change him. I got him to see how toxic his family is, and now he's made the choice to remove that cancer. Old Pride says, "I caramba, what is all what is all this?" Shaking my head. Lim's Curiosity Kills says, "Applauds, bravo. I'm absolutely jealous. For a minute, I thought I was reading my own life. Same thing with Thanksgiving, except she invited all his friends, and when they didn't show up, she invited us to try and make them come at 10 at night. I changed him too. He's lost a lot of toxicity. His family has not. He just keeps, he doesn't go running to fix their problems all the time now, but I'm frustrated he still doesn't see how they play him." And First Skinny's the third top comment says, "I'm a wee bit more petty than OP is. I'd be putting it out public post to everyone known to his family. For those of you wondering if I made a mistake and forgot to invite my mom to the wedding, the answer is no, I didn't. It was totally intentional. If you want to know why, it's because I came to the conclusion that I'm only important to them as someone they can use, as evidenced by the Thanksgiving incident where my mom canceled Thanksgiving after being told, no, I'm not adding more money to the debt she owes by asking to borrow money and then never repaying it, and then notified everyone else she was hosting, but apparently just forgot I existed. She has maintained that I don't exist because she has not contacted me in any way, shape, or form in the last 6 months. Had zero interest in my life once I started saying no to being used, and only seems upset that me getting married without her there looks bad. No, it's not looks, it's a reality. They should take care of anyone who was curious about the reason why, and I'm leaving it and them in the past where it belongs." I'm proud of him for not inviting his mom. She didn't deserve to be there, sounds like. Next, we have Retail Hell and is entitled, "Congratulations, you've just lost yourself a customer. I'm never coming back here again." Oh, it's a meme. It says, "I don't give a wang," in giant. What is that? 20th Century Fox? No, I guess it's 21st Century Fox. Have to change their name every like 100 years. Okay, Spells, as usually I say, see you next week. I'm right more often than not. Creative, the LP says, "You'll be back," is what I normally say. One of the gifs is from Hamilton, the king from Hamilton. "You'll be back." Uh, Euromatic says, "Next week is generous, so usually back the next day." Nothing happened. So true. I only say that when I mean it. Notice Radio Shack's not around anymore. Single-handedly. Mama Gone says, when you see them next week, and now I thought you were never coming back. Yes. Orbit says, this is her top rated comment. You promise? That's what I would probably say. You promise? Am I the devil? They entitled it, Why My Wife Doesn't Want More Kids. It's from True Off My Chest, the original, and it's entitled, I don't want my wife, who changed her mind about having more kids, to treat this decision as a neutral thing. I made it clear I need her to hold space for my grief. Before we got married, my wife and I were very aligned on having multiple children. We talked about it as a real part of our future. We are financially very comfortable. Work isn't a limiting factor, and building a larger family was something I genuinely looked forward to and planned my life around. After our first, my wife changed her mind. Pregnancy and childbirth were much harder than she expected, and she now feels strongly that she's done. It's her body. She's the one birthing the child, and you're probably not doing it anything. Were you? Did you step up as a dad? Did you step up as a dad and do all the dad things, like changing diapers, midnight feedings? Or is she in charge of the kid alone? Because that's usually what happens in these. I'm not trying to pressure her into another pregnancy or argue about her bodily autonomy. What I'm struggling with is everything after that decision. Her decision changed the course of my life too, and what I envisioned. So I need her to see it. For me, this wasn't just okay. We'll have another one instead of two or three. I feel like losing an entire future I had and mentally committed to it, and I feel like I'm expected to just accept that quietly and move on because she has a valid reason for changing her mind. She can change her mind. You don't have, yeah, you have to accept that, but you don't have to be married to her. You can, if this is a deal breaker for you, you can divorce her, marry somebody else, and have more kids. There's nothing wrong with that because circumstances changed, and that's okay. It happens. Our couples therapist encouraged me to open up, and I told her I need her to acknowledge that by changing her mind, I lost something real, and that loss matters, even if she had every right to make the choice she did. I don't want this to be something I mull over while we pretend everything is fine. I need us to actually tend to it and not sweep it under the rug. Our therapist suggested to my wife she does regular check ins to see how I'm coping and the ability to grieve without it being framed as me trying to pressure her or guilt her into changing her mind. I also told her that since the future we originally planned isn't happening, I need the new one to actively include things that gave my life the meaning I thought larger family would provide, not vaguely someday ideas, but real priorities. For example, I'd like us to be deeply involved in my nieces and nephews' lives, which means showing up consistently, helping with education, being a real secondary support system, not just seeing them on holidays. I also want our home to be a place where people gather, regular dinners, holidays, open doors, so life doesn't shrink inward to the three of us. Those are reasonable things. What really class is emotional labor. I told her I need her to not shut the conversation down, minimize my feelings, or frame my sadness as manipulation. Instead, I want her to stay present even when it's uncomfortable and allow the topic to come up more than once. Sometimes acknowledge the loss herself as something simple as saying, I know this cost you something real and I don't want to pretend it didn't. I also say that staying together means that this can't be a situation where I absorb all the loss and she experiences this is neutral. That may mean accepting limits on other life preferences like career moves, lifestyle changes, or making room for things that inconvenience her but help her restore balance. I'm not asking for another child. What I didn't say was have another baby or else. What I did say was this was my choice. But what I but I did say she can't say this was my choice, so deal with it and expect our relationship to be the same. She feels like I'm asking for too much and that this makes her feel guilty for making a deeply personal decision after a difficult pregnancy. I disagree because I need her to work to get my trust back after such a big decision. I don't think this guy's the devil at all. His wife might be because she just seems cold. His top rated comment as it says, the first bit of the post, I was thinking he didn't belong here. It's a great thing to grieve a life you thought you'd have. As someone disabled, I know this incredibly well. Then he turns it into resentment at his wife. I don't think he resents her. He's not. Well, yeah, of course he resents her a little bit. I mean, that would just be normal. He turns it into him versus her instead of them versus their grief. He and the therapist ignore that she is probably grieving the loss of that future too. Is she? Because maybe she's not. What indication do you have that she is? And then to push it even further and want to punish her for not going through a horrible, painful trauma again. He's not asking. I don't think he's asking for that. Everyone's saying he did a 180. This one's saying that him and the therapist are ganging up against the wife. What if the therapist is correct? I don't know. I think he's having a hard time, and I think he needs more time. I don't think he's a bad guy. That's just my feeling. Because she doesn't sound like she's doing anything to help him, or least she can do is say she was sorry. Like, acknowledge his grief. I think that's all he's really asking for, is to be acknowledged. I also say they need to get a divorce because they're not compatible. They're no longer compatible. Um, and her not wanting more kids, that's perfectly valid. And him feeling some kind of way because his entire life is now turned upside down from what he thought it was going to be. I mean, that happens to people, and you have to deal with it. But you also need consideration and comfort when that happens. Next, we have Petty Revenge, and it's entitled, Boss always found an error with my monthly reports and cover letters, so I used her old ones and watched her rip them apart. I was telling the story the other night, and I was told to post it here. It takes place 19 years ago when I worked for State Street Bank for one of the worst human beings ever, Paula. Real places and names, so I do not care. If you live in Boston and looking to work at this place, skip it. It's a horrible place to work anyway. On to the story. I just started working for Paula. The team was a mini project team tackling complex financial operation problems with a high SVP visibility. That's how it was sold to me. In reality, it was a mushroom farm with Paula keeping you in the dark and feeding you crap. All I did was compile reports and gather data from people who were terrified of my team. Needless to say, I was bait and switched and was looking to get out shortly after I got there. She had a habit of always criticizing your work, to hell with the stupidest things. One of the reports I was responsible for was weekly update on certain oil warranties out of Nigeria. To those that do not know what a warrant is, it's an agreement to buy a commodity at a specific price, regardless of what the current value is. The reason being there was an option to buy at $30 a barrel when prices peaked at $90 a barrel. I didn't even know Nigeria had oil. I admit my ignorance. Can you? We had no idea if the holder knew about this or not, but we had to monitor and report because the liability and loss would have been massive. Anywho, week after week after week after week, Paula would review and rip me a new a-hole over the format, verbiage, and every stupid thing not related to the actual numbers being right. Total ticky-tacky stuff. One day I was going through the network files and stumbled across an older folder for a similar project. It was Paula's handiwork before they gave her the team to manage. So I decided to use her format for everything, even changing the report structure to look just like hers and using her cover letter language. I brought it to her office to review and sign off. She absolutely lost her crap. She asked what happened to the old format. I told her since she didn't seem to like what I had been doing, I thought it best to change it around. She said this was worse than before, probably the worst I submitted her. She went on for what seemed like forever. I just looked at her and didn't interrupt with a blank look. Her last question to me was, what was I thinking when I made these changes? I told her that I used the old formatting language she used when she was doing a similar report a few years back, that I found the folder online and used her password verbatim. Just the numbers and relevant information changed. I gave her printouts of her reports and letters to compare. She just looked at me and had this dumbstruck look on her face. I asked if this was bad, I should go back to my format then. She just signed off the report and said to send them as is. I just want to confirm that they were fine to send because less than a minute ago she said it was basically unreadable. She said they were fine as is and we didn't have time to redo them, so I sent them. I was smart enough to find and save all of her old work for example to use. I noticed that she went uh, through and deleted and moved the older folder so I encountered because I expected her to. Oh, this cat and mouse game went on for the remainder of my time there. I would use her template past work and wait for her to tear it apart. After a few more times, she eventually figured out I grabbed all of them. She asked, and I told her I created SOPs usually in her past work and had saved it locally. It seemed like a logical thing to do. I was able to quit a few months later. Wang you, Paula. PM Worst Fart Story says, I should have asked what Paula what her superior thought, though. Hey, Paula, I'm going to bury you in your old formats just like you used to do. I've waited so long to show you you're wrong. Second top comment is quoted about her reviewing everything except for the numbers being right. And it's from Mountain Usual. And they say, in a past job, I was tasked with developing a very complex official corporate policy document that would become the official law of the land, so to speak. My boss would go through every draft with such a fine tooth comb that she would send the draft back with complaints like the period at the end of sentence page 57 looks like it might be in a different font than the rest of the document. Lady, I assure you, I did not change the font for one period. You are insane. I feel for you, OP. That'd be awful. That's when you just go through and you highlight everything and make it all the same, just to make sure. Like, no, it's not. this uh, This used diet answers. My father had a boss back in the day when Photoshop work was physically pasting up work that would tell every person this needs to be moved to 64th to the left, a 64th to the left, just so he sounded like he was involved in whatever project. Dad said after the first two times, he just took the crap back to his desk, waited half an hour without changing anything, and then brought it back, and Bossman said it was perfect. Edit for the rest of the world, 1/64th is of an inch is 0.4 millimeters. Carl Crossgrave says 4/10 of 1 millimeter is also known as a gnat's ass or nothing. Their top rated comment. There you go. It's from Supersonic. I love this line. It was a mushroom farm with Paula keeping you in the dark and feeding you crap. I like that line too. That was good. I'm gonna take a quick break to get my drink because my mouth is now dry. I will return in a moment. And I wish I had the things that I could just like put this on pause because I can't find it on here. I can't find it. Ah, I are back. Sorry that took a little longer than I expected. Okay. Did you have fun? I didn't. Cough is getting better, by the way. My husband's is also getting a little better. Next, we have entitled people, and is entitled. Guy parks in my driveway, gives me attitude when I ask who he is. I was just sitting on my front patio, minding my own business, enjoying the weather, and people were watching. And people watching. That's a fun thing to do if you have people to watch. The guy pulls his car into the driveway behind my car and gets out. I have no idea who he is. When he gets out of his car, he doesn't look my way or say anything to me. I was curious about who he was, so I say, "Can I help you with something?" I just wasn't sure why he was there because I'm the only tenant out of the two home at the moment, and I don't know if he's planning on parking and leaving. He says back with a snarky tone, "No, you can't help me with anything. I'm just delivering something next door. Are you going to be moving your car in the next 3 minutes?" I replied, I'm just asking because I don't know who you are, and you don't have to give me attitude since you're parking in my driveway." He's gone for a few minutes, comes back and gets in his car, rolls down his window, and shouts to me that I'm a bitch and a Karen. Like, WTF, entitled much? If he would have gotten out of his car and said somewhat friendly, "I'm making a quick delivery next door. Do you mind if I park here for 3 minutes?" Honestly, I wouldn't have mind. He came back in like 10 minutes later after my guy friend showed up and parked behind me. I guess he forgot a bag that he was delivering. I pointed out my friend and he looked over at both of us. And when you know what, he had nothing to say. He gave me so much attitude for no reason, entitled to my parking spot, entitled by parking in my damn driveway, then being a D bag when I simply asked who he was. Some serious rage going on with that guy. Notice when her male friend showed up, he had nothing to say. Misogyny much? Just saying. Oh, shoot. I hit a button, sorry. No Argula says, Arugula. No Arugula says, ask your neighbor who he ordered from, then call and complain. BB Bye 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 says, it was probably DoorDash or Uber Eats. Those drivers don't give a wang about anybody. Foxtrot Sierra Tango FST? I don't know what. FST. What would FST be? So many times I've seen people just throw their hazards and park in the middle of the street while they go to a restaurant to pick up an order. Sasquatch Melee says, Sasquatch Melee. It's even more amusing to me when they stop in the road that like that, but there's an open spot within 10 feet. I'm so glad I don't live in a city. Passive aggressive lib says, oh, I think I like that person. Can we be friends? 2 days ago, new people moved into the house next to us. They drove in a gigantic U-Haul at 2:30 in the morning and parked in front of their house, but also partially blocked my driveway. They didn't park it all the way at the curb. School bus tried getting by at 7 a.m. and couldn't fit, so he started honking. My neighbor across the street ended up having to go over and bang on their door to wake them up to move the U-Haul, which they did in front of my house on the lawn and blocking three-quarters of my driveway. So then I had to go over there and wake them up again because I had to go to work and couldn't get out of my driveway. That's not a good way to start off a neighborly relationship at all. Aviation Nut says, being a dick on moving day is how you make new friends with friends with the new neighbors. Oh, not so fast, dog. Commenter. So wild. Our neighbors needed to park an enormous truck for a day that would end up partially blocking our driveway. He walked over and asked if it would be okay. It'll be here just for the evening and offered a beer. We said no problem. My husband parked his car out of the way so he wasn't blocked, and that's it. It takes all of 2 minutes not to be a dick. And it costs nothing to be kind. Huntingfoot said, would be nice to park behind them and then walk off for real, like for a while, like a day. Song of the Night Lord answers, I used to live in a house where my driveway was right next to the other houses, and the landlord of that house had a bunch of prospective tenants coming for rental open house. I got home from work and two strange cars were parked in my driveway. I parked blocking both of them and then took my dog on a very long walk. Next we have Murder by Words, being the roasted name in a room full of monsters. The most roasted name in a room full of monsters. It's Obama. I miss him. Obama's in the Epstein files like 1,000 times. I'm not even joking. It's all people just talking crap about him. And Oxygen says being the one most roasted name in a room full of monsters is actually the highest compliment possible. True, 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 true. Miss Obama's for sure. Balance Scales says, or actually quotes, I ask you to judge me by the enemies I have made, FDR. Calico Monkey says, if someone you don't respect talks crap about you, take it as a compliment. For 100% sure. uh, Big Poe fan says, it's amazing to me that just one single black man becoming president melted half of America's population's brains and made them so incredibly pissed. It's not half, it's like a third. It's like a third. Don't count everybody in that. It's a third. There's like a good portion of us that just will not care about politics no matter how much it affects them. No Horse, No Mustache says, I saw it happen in real time. The old dude I hung out with / took care of at the time was not a Fox News crazy person until Obama got elected. Like a damn light switch, boom, he's watching Fox and talking crazy. Thankfully, he passed before 2012. He realized the GOP was full of GD morons and admitted he'd been wrong about a lot of things. Trump would have horrified him. That's weird. The diecast says that was my grandpa. My dad was always a very vocal racist, but my grandpa was for sure Republican, and his racism was there not just crazy in your face. Not that that's mine better, mind you. But once Obama was in, there was open seas in him being crazy. No Horse, No Mustache answers again. Yep, it took him a few years to shake it off, but I think it was Michelle Bachmann's trash news conference from that hotel lobby during the 2012 primaries that finally made him realize what a clown show the GOP was. He couldn't believe he was a serious contender for the nomination. He wasn't a dumb man, just provincial. I think he would have voted for Obama if he hadn't passed that August. Well, that's good. Icy Cellist says, I'm sure there are MAGA folks who'd love praise from child offenders. The Misanthropic says, which chuckle fuck is Nixon on his back Bannon? No, it's not Bannon. Oh, what's that other guy's name? I can't remember, but I know it's not Bannon. Robert Stone, that's it. Roger Stone. Robert Roger. Roger Stone, that's the one. Big old huge tattoo of Nixon's face on his back. Have fun, girls. Street Caramel is the third top rated comment, and they say, I wouldn't be surprised if they think the reference to Barack is Obama and not Youth Barack, even though the spelling is different and not the smartest crew. Oh, so it's a different guy altogether. It's Barak, not Barack, Barack. Pekalavi, there are mentions of Obama in the files because Epstein was discussing politics, just like there's a technical manual on bash scripting. There isn't anything accusing him, but the only tangible one they obsess over is a woman mailing Epstein, who is now a Goldman Sachs, that served as White House counselor. If we want to go there, just look at Dumb's first term. Acosta, who gave Epstein the sweetheart deal as labor secretary, and David Barr is his AG, son of William Barr, who got Epstein's career started. How many more times that quote, son of William Barr, who got Epstein's career started? Same William Barr who wrote multiple sci-fi novels about elites keeping child sex slaves. Wolin Rex says, oh, how I'll run mission Earth of him. Not only that, there are tons of people in the Epstein files that are named in the Epstein files that had nothing to do with Epstein. They're just talking about other people. Expectation versus reality. And it's entitled The Best Thing I Ever Bought. I bought this in November thinking it would be a great holiday gift for my wife. So there's this little possum. It's a possum. It's not a rat. That's a possum. It looks scared. He looks scared. And that's the expectation. And I guess that's what they got. It's cute. Little fat thing. Very cute. After weeks of thinking it would never arrive, I realized I might have been scammed this ugly beauty. I might have been scammed this ugly beauty arrive. I have not laughed this hard in a long time. I'm absolutely in love with it. I truly believe this might be the purchase that brings me pure joy for the rest of my life. First one has 2 tiny babies. Oh, they're babies in the little satchel. And then there's just a bunch of memes, of course. All right, if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, turn on your notifications. I try to go live at least 4 times a week, usually about noon Eastern time. I realize I'm here like a few hours a week. I don't expect everybody to watch every minute. I don't expect anybody to watch every minute. You can come, you can go. Don't feel bad about stepping in and stepping out. It's a long time. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Just watch the parts you like. Or go back and watch the parts you like. It's fine. Please tell your friends, family, and your enemies. Please, please, please. If you have a story of your own, you can let us know. If you'd like a link, please let me know. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com, and the address is also in the description. Yeah, I think I can take off, though. More things are coming out about the Duggars every day, just saying. Next, we have Zillow Gone Wild. Well, it's not Zillow Gone Wild. It's our real estate section. And it is entitled Tiny Red House in Washington, D.C. So it's in Washington, D.C. for $1,148,000. You too may have this tiny red home. I guess I should have done that. But that was not, that's my mouse. It is 1 bedroom, 2 baths, and just a tiny bit over 1,000 square feet. Like my living room could fit in this house. This house could fit in my house. Oh, that's cute. Very rusticy. Wonder when it was built. Very old school. Very, very like colonial almost. The paneling might be new, but the rest of that's very colonial to me. I do like it. I don't think I'm gonna like the kitchen though. I like that part of the kitchen. That's nice. The bathroom. It's okay. Clearly older people were living here because there's a bar at the toilet. Oh, that's not as bad as expected. Yeah, I quite like that. I bought a swimsuit, like kind of a little darker color. A little darker than this, but same green, but a little darker. Just on Sunday. I saw it and I bought it and it's full price and I never but I think I could go a size down on it. So if it goes on sale, I might buy another one. It's a little smaller. Shocking, I know. I could go down a size. That's wild. It's a little tiny kitchen, but it's nice. It's not got a good. I would put this. I wouldn't have. Well, can't say that. Mine's like that too. I guess that's similar to my triangle. It's not the greatest triangle in the world. Plenty of room for a table in there. This is very wide. I'd want to change the color. I wonder what that's like under there. Under that paint, I wonder what the color is. I like that they have these old silversmith goblets throughout. It's kind of funny. Yeah, now I have something in my throat. Because I didn't take the Flonase again today. Darn it. It's cute. Cute little back area. Little corridor. Well, outside corridor. Yeah, it's way too close to the other houses for me. I guess this is down the street. That's kind of cool. They have so little to show in this house, they have to show you street views. Built in 1780. I told you it was colonial. It is so colonial. Oh my goodness. Um, how can that little teeny tiny thing cost that much money? That's insanity. One bedroom, two baths, a full bath and a half bath. Everything's on the main level, I think, on that. Radiator natural gas. So electric cooling. So it's got air. Appliances included dishwasher, disposal dryer, cooktop washer, refrigerator, range hood, stainless steel appliances, oven range, gas water heater. Combination kitchen, dining, floor plan, traditional, exposed beams, beam ceilings, drywall, and paneled walls. Have any Georgetown original, just steps to Rose Park and shopping and DC's finest restaurants. Thought to have been built by a British sea captain. I do like it. See, it has to get way old for me to like it. Does have a space for an home office with a view of the rear garden. Offered as is and partially furnished. The home includes wooden desks, rustic decor, pewter pieces. Oh, the pieces are staying. I want those. My personal library. Wow. Belonging to its longtime resident, Anne Kara Christie, who is a cryptologist, World War II veteran, and the first woman to serve as deputy director of the NSA. That's kind of cool. She'd have another house somewhere. No, they have brought it down like $5,000 from last month. Property taxes are about $10,000 a year, so you could afford it, I guess, if you made a little bit of money. Still wild. Puzzle-headed clue says 1 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, 3 skylights, sold. They say $1 million, and the puzzle-headed clue says worth it. Bye Bye to Galaxy says 2 bathrooms is key in case both you and your partner catch a stomach bug. Delete said I really like it, and I'm happy to see no one updated the interior. Me too. Final Do says quick how. Holy fuck. Rice. Oh. Here's our new segment. Maybe if I did a lifesaver, it would help. What do you think? Think this is going to help? Sometimes it helps. I don't know. This is our new segment called Signs with a Story. This one's says I was directed here. Beautiful is the title, and it's interesting. It says warning: if you are being sent here through a dating app, it was a scam. You have been catfished. This house is occupied by an elderly couple. We have had multiple occurrences of people showing up and even entering our home. Please do not knock or attempt to make contact. Police will be called. And it's the grinder logo with the no sign through it. Yeah, that sounds like it's got to have a story for sure. Somebody hates this couple. I feel sorry for them. Fresh Confusion says, I don't understand the scam here. Why does the catfisher gain by sending their target to a random house like that? Low UFO says, disgruntled neighbor sending horny gay dudes over there as revenge for something. Pretty creative way to mess with someone. Tratsism says, honestly, that's genius. Legal? I don't know. Moral? Not unless the neighbors are cunts. Too little data to assess, but brilliant for sure. This is interesting AF. Linus pushes her cub without knowing it's water. Keep in mind that big animals with lots of muscle don't float. Share it first. Beautiful. Beautiful.
And I don't know.
Turn off the music because I'll get dinged for that. Oh, get her out. The baby. Oh, there we go. Good job, Mama. Good job, Mama. I don't blame you running away from Mama. Why are you doing that, Mom? That's nice. Top comment. Dad, guess what Mom tried to do? Lol, hey, AJ says, sounds like you survived. Shake it off. Somebody answers that, but did you die? Pigwit says, what the wang, Mom? Cacafuego says, I'm trying to help, but all I have are dagger mittens and sword teeth. Botting J says, Jess, I can do is one pointy claw right in one of your armpit pores. third third top rated comment is, you can see the monster mother's facial expression instantly go, oh crap. Somebody has a screenshot of what she realized. Next is what I am the a-hole, and it says WTIBA for suing my friend when she didn't come to my wedding. Oh, well, yeah. Who does that? It's an invitation, not a summons. I, 25 female, recently got married to my 25 male husband in Bali, Indonesia in January. It was a destination, but my parents and his parents paid for their own plane tickets and hotel, but we paid for our friends' plane tickets and hotel stays. Each plane ticket was about $2,000, and the hotel was maybe $100 to $300 for a week. Wow, that's cheap. My friend Gemma brought along her newlywed husband John, but paid for his plane ticket. Problem is that Gemma and John didn't show up to my wedding. Gemma took the free plane ticket to Bali and the hotel room, and when I asked her why she didn't show up, she said that they couldn't afford their own honeymoon, and this was a perfect opportunity, and that Jim decided he didn't feel like going. I was really hurt by this since Gemma and I have been friends for over 10 years. WBA, WIBTA, if I took her to small claims court for the money I split on the plane ticket and hotel. This is a hard one because, like I said, it's an invitation, not a summons. But they did take you up on what, $2,300? Update. I messaged Gemma per multiple comments advising me to invoice her for the plane ticket and hotel room. But I did something better. I wanted to get proof so that if I had to go to court, it'd be easier to win. I messaged her this. Hey, sorry for being so distant, but I just want to talk to you about Bali. I'm hurt that you didn't show up to the ceremonies. I pulled a lot of strings to ensure that you could come, and you didn't show. Do you think I paid for the trip just so you could honeymoon with John? She replied, I've missed you a lot, and I know that the trip was for your wedding, but John didn't want to go because he felt like your wedding ruined the illusion of being the trip being our honeymoon, and that you'd understand. Oh, Glorioski, John sounds like a real prize. I replied, no, I don't understand. You took advantage of me, and that's not what real friends do. So I'm sending you an invoice for $2,386.53 for the cost of the plane ticket and hotel room. I will give you 30 days, and after that, I will be taking legal notice. I received no response, but she's been posting subliminal quotes on Instagram that are along the lines of entitled friends and having snakes in your life. Talk about some projection there. Holy cow. Thank you for all your verdicts and help. Update part 2. I didn't think this would get worse, but here we are. I didn't respond to any of the subliminal messages she posted about me on social media, and I have been very quiet while I've been getting my ducks in a row for the litigation. But this Friday, she sent me a 3-page audit of financial and emotional contributions from 2015 to present. I wish I was winging joking. The audit, she itemized every dinner or lunch I've ever ate together. She estimated $18 per meal. Do you have receipts for that, ma'am? Gas money for driving to and from hangouts. A birthday gift from 2017 that she now claims she went into debt for. Time spent emotionally supporting me after my dad passed away. She said she took the role of grief counselor for me, even though I talked to her on the phone about once for 30 minutes. One time she helped me move apartment. She was paid for her labor. Emotional distress caused by me threatening litigation. Her grand total is $2,412.09. That seems really cheap. I, I think I'd charge more, which is conveniently within the $25 that I invoiced her. She told me that if we're really friends and keeping score, that actual over 24.56. No, now you go back and you do the same things back to her and double your. I think I stared at the document for 10 minutes in silence, in shock from the audacity because this bitch is delusional. To clarify, I never asked her to cook for me. While I was in college, she did pay for lunches, but I definitely returned the favor big time once I graduated. I bought her many gifts over the years. I've let her stay at my house several times when she and John argued. I've also lended a shoulder for her to cry on when she had difficult times in life. But apparently, being a friend is now billable. I decided to give the message a thumbs down because if I respond, it will be extremely disrespectful with the anger I'm facing. I cannot wait for these 30 days to be over because I will be suing the wing out of her. Zaf says, I can't believe I'm saying this, but NTA, someone who offers to give you a free vacation on the condition you attend one party during that time, I'd be jumping for that opportunity. To take that free vacation and then no call, no show your friend's wedding is really crappy behavior on their part. They could have extended their stay if they wanted to treat the trip as their own honeymoon. Yeah, true. I mean, the hotel room was cheap. Stay 2 weeks. Stay 2 weeks. One for the wedding and one for the honeymoon. The airfare would have been the same. Mr. Kitty said, I was thinking the same. Came in judging off the title. Hard NTA, but the best you can do is dump that friend. I don't think the hassle is worth it. The courts will probably just see it as a gift. The judge might see it as a gift, but you might be able to argue that it was more like a contract, like an engagement ring. If you are coming to my wedding, then I pay your expenses. She didn't fulfill her end of the bargain coming to the wedding, but still took the airfare and hotel room. Sherry says, I think she would have had a strong argument, especially with the RSV if she RSVP'd. No, I think it's a legitimate lawsuit because you paid for something and what you were paying for didn't happen. It was a unwritten contract or a verbal contract. Hugo Boss lives. You're not an a-hole. Your friend is the a-hole here, but I can't see you winning any sort of claim. Legally, you gifted her a plane ticket. There was no contract. She had to come to the wedding. Darwin says judges are capable of finding an assumed condition with a gift. The classic example is engagement rings typically get returned to the man if their fiance calls off the wedding. NTA, but start first sending her a bill with copies of the bills for the airfare and the hotel. Maybe she'll pay up without court worth a try. Somebody down below says that the intention wasn't gifting them with a honeymoon, which is true. um I was gonna look for another update. Oh, she got legal advice, but not really with an update, just that she was going through. All right. Next we have I Don't Work Your Lady, entitled I'm Not Shoveling Your Walkway and I'm Not with the HOA. In my community, all of the homes have driveways and garages, but also has an additional off-street parking along the service road that circles the neighborhood. We've been snowed in with sub-freezing temperatures for the last week and a half, so now that we got few warmer days, it's time to start digging out. Keep in mind, this was February. Goal, which is on the service road, and I decided to wear my full winter weather getup that I use while working construction. Parked in front and behind me were both my elderly next door neighbor and my friend who lives on the other end of the neighborhood, so I shoveled their cars out also. I was right there. I didn't mind, no big deal. I took care of it. After finishing up the third card, this woman with Karen tendencies walked up to me and says, "Hello, yes, you. I've been waiting for my walkway to be shoveled out. Are you going to do it today?" No, I had no idea who she was or why she thought I was the one going to do her shoveling. It took me a minute to figure out that she was trying to convey, because at first I thought I might have shoveled out her car by mistake, thinking it would belong to my friend. Now she was mad that I did it. I don't know. She didn't scream or create a scene. I'm guessing that she thought I was with the HOA and I was coming to shovel her walkway. To give this context, my HOA is not that great. It's a good thing that they don't bother with stupid rules or give anyone a hard time, but the not so good thing is that they're not easy to get a hold of and they're slow to respond when you need them. Like with many other things, it's their responsibility to do snow removal. You can either handle it yourself or you can wait 3 weeks. When you call them up, it goes to answering machine. So I'm guessing that the lady called the HOA and then saw me shoveling outside a little while later. I don't know if she's new to the neighborhood, but as far as I've been living here, it's kind of been an unwritten rule that if you're able and willing to shovel your driveway, you also shovel half the street in front of your driveway. So that you don't create a catch of ice that's too hard to navigate. The side effect of when everybody does it, the road is passable. It's not perfectly clear, but enough snow is removed where people can get in and out. You can just drive over the snow. That kind of ice is not that bad to drive on. I used to do it all the time, as long as it's not hilly. But anyhow, I went on to shovel my elderly neighbor's walkway, and the whole time the lady is pestering me about when it's going to be her turn because she's got places to go and things to do. That's when I realized what was going on and she was thinking, and I simply said, "I'm not with the HOA, I live here." And maybe she didn't understand, but she practically followed me around the neighborhood while I helped some of my other neighbors. Trin says, "No good deed goes unpunished." The wildest story I heard in a similar vein was this. I live in a small town, so no HOAs to deal with, thank goodness. But we had a few feet of snow, and a guy who was part owner of a local implement dealer took a small tractor with a bucket on the front to clear people's driveways for free. He's been doing this for years and never charged anyone. It's his good neighbor project. Anyway, one time a guy chewed him out for not doing more around the guy's house. Some people are just looking for a reason to complain. Opie says, yes, I've heard the whole, if you can't do a completely excellent job, you shouldn't even be bothering doing it in the first place argument before. Never mind that I'm doing you a favor or this is an emergency that I'm mitigating. Yeah. Somebody replies to her. Oh, no, that's a him. Somebody replies to him. In the 90s, only one neighbor in our very small village had a snowblower. He would go around and clear a single pass on most blocks. But if he called citizens out shoveling, he'd clear the width of their sidewalk. It's a sweet memory, and I'd hate to think that other people got mad at him for not doing their entire job. Yeah. Overheard in Costco parking lot an hour ago. So this was 2 months and an hour ago. I'm unloading my cart, and my mom and son, maybe 15, pushing their overflowing cart to the car next to me. Mom, hey, you have that STEM project due next week. Is it ready yet? Son, no ball, get it done. Mom, I swear you are the world's worst procrastinator. Son, no way, you are. Mom, what are you talking about? I never put anything off. Son, exactly. We could have had this shopping done tomorrow, but now we still have to take all this stuff home and then get dressed because we're going to be late to the party. We're always late to do anything because nothing can wait till later. I'm the world's best procrastinator. I always put things off and I still get them done and everything is always fine. Mom, Jesus, get in the damn car. We're going to be late. I thought the kid had a pretty good argument. Top rated comment is adorable air. And she says, I'm 46, have no children, But I felt that mom burn. All 8 things is the second top rated comment saying, one of the most unexpected expected consequences of having kids has been having them reflect my own behaviors back to me and calling me out on them. Their father and I are sarcastic AF, so it's not always fun, but I'm genuinely a better person because those not so little craps have held me accountable and forced me to be. FBA Hobo says the law of procrastinations. If you wait long enough until the last minute, it'll only take a minute. My grandfather used to say, never do today what you can put off until tomorrow. And you wonder why I'm a procrastinator? I think I'm gonna right now I'm gonna change the episode name to today. Oops. Space. What you can put off until tomorrow. Signed Shorty. My grandfather was called Shorty all his life. He was short. Um, when he passed away, friends of mine saw the obituary in the papers and stuff, and said, "I didn't know your grandpa's name was Harold." They didn't even know his name because they'd never ever heard it. Everybody called him Shorty. My grandmother once in a while would call him Harold when she was mad. Okay, this is as a strong content warning. So if you are sensitive to violence and death, please skip this one. It is from True Off My Chest. It is entitled My Son Killed His Ex-Girlfriend. This is a throwaway account with different details, not to expose my family because there are articles out on this and I want to keep privacy because it includes my entire family who did nothing wrong. It's been 5 years today and I still can't believe this. I'm so ashamed of being this person's father, and having him will always be my biggest regret and mistake. 6 years ago, he got into a relationship with his classmate who was also the daughter of one of my best friends. Her dad and I were childhood best friends. They were both 15 years old. It didn't last they didn't last a while, maybe 2 months, and they broke up like kids do. The next year around this time she went missing. We live in a small village about 2,500 people, and we all went out to look for her all week with no success. A few kids ended up finding her body outside of a body bag on their way inside of a body bag on their way to school, dumped into a dumpster. She was naked with multiple stab wounds all over her, and she was covered in blood. They found the knife dumped with her, my son's fingerprints all over it. I had absolutely no idea about any of it because he came home around 9 p.m. in clean clothes, and he even helped search for her. Murderers do this. Murderers and arsonists also. They will do something like this, and then they will come to the crime scene acting like they're just a normal person because they want to know what's going on. They get some kind of a thrill out of nobody knowing that they did it. He confessed to everything and soon was faced the evidence, and they prosecuted him as an adult, and he got 25 years in prison. And I don't feel bad for him at all. I never visited him after that. Last time I saw him was when he was sentenced to prison at the courthouse, which happened just 2 months later because he immediately confessed to everything. Ever since our entire community has shunned us, my friend spit in my face in front of the entire village, and he called had killed me if other people didn't intervene. Why do people? No, this guy didn't kill this girl. His son did. Why is the entire village taking it out on him? He's not responsible for what his kid did. His kid's clearly a psychopath. But the parent may not have even known that. Probably didn't. I didn't and couldn't even blame him for it because I have 2 daughters and I get it completely. I publicly disowned him and so did the rest of our family, but the guilt and shame was too much. I lost all my friends. I didn't have the heart to show my face in that village anymore, so a couple of months later, we sold our house. We moved to a completely different country and continent where we didn't know anyone. I've lived in that village. I lived in that village my entire life. All my friends' family were there. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, but it was for the good of my family. I hate my son for what he did to that poor girl, and I hate him for destroying our family's entire life, and I hate him for making every one of my best friends go through the worst pain a father could ever experience. Every single year on this day, I feel it all over again, like it's just happened, and I feel like absolute crap. He deserves every minute he gets in that prison. If it were up to me, I'd never let him out. He deserves to rot in there. That's horrible. I'm so sorry. I hope that the family of this girl has healed a little bit since then. Oh, 5 years ago. It's only been 5 years. That's so hard. That's so hard. Hard on OP too. It's not his fault. And it kind of makes me angry that people weren't more understanding towards him, but maybe where he lived, people are different and can't understand. Throw rat. Wow, that was sad to read. I'm so sorry. Did he have any remorse or show empathy or an emotion? OP says he was crying, but but because of the sentence. Um, Thorough Ross says that sadly means he only does care about himself. I'm sorry for you all. File a restraining order for all you guys so that when he gets released, he can't get touch. And OP says, I live in a different continent altogether and he doesn't know where I am, and I'm planning to keep it that way. That's good. Constant Charity says, there's nothing I can say except for sorry for what happened to the girl and everything that happened to you. I hope you can move on. Life will show its bright side again. People are saying it's fake. Like, where would a 14-year-old get a body bag from? They're saying it could just be a bag with a body. OP was, um, OP was kicked off of Reddit. I don't know why he is answering, so it's not AI. Soaring Queen says, ALP, I unfortunately experienced something similar, not to the same extent as you, as it was my stepbrother, but I see the toll it takes on my stepmom every single day. Almost 6 years ago, he snapped and went on a week-long spree of killing, kidnaps, and home invasions. He admitted to everything in serving 30 years. He never showed signs of being violent before and had a loving and supportive family. You are a victim of your son's crimes. He ruined your life too. I'm so incredibly sorry. It's not your fault. Feel free to message me if you need to talk. And did I just say sorry like a Canadian? I'm practicing for when we're annexed to Canada. Next is what do I do? And it also is a trigger warning for um suicide. So I mean they don't have it up there, but it is. Um so please skip. My friend is going to get herself killed. What can I even do at this point? And there are text messages. I never thought I'd be the type to do this, but I'm going to indulge in what? No privacy right now. Privacy would be needed. I'm getting offered free trips around the world and businesses in my name. It sounds like sex trafficking. From who? It's not this great guy. It is sex trafficking. That's totally sex trafficking. Yeah, no, bro, even if you knew him personally, that's a huge red flag. I know his address and his kids in elementary school. You don't just get crap for free. And she says, most definitely not. He wants Sexer to sell you. It's not going to be free. And it's probably a lie. This is genuine textbook. Just like phone scammers, you know. Oh, so this girl seems to have a pattern of falling for scams. Just like the phone numbers you ignored me about. That's why I told him I won't give any energy to him at all unless he shows me what he means. So many people say they mean what they say, but they don't say what they mean. Yeah, he probably will. That's how he convince you. And that makes them mean. I'm winged right now. All he has to do is convince you, and then his reward is nothing way more. Is worth way more. Offering millions. I don't want to. It says scam. She says it's not. It is. For your common sense for use your common sense for a single moment. He showed me everything I've known him. And she says that's their game. They are going to give me management of a whole block of Sacramento. No, they're not. Dude, come on. Seriously. It sounds realistic. A girl with no experience is easily manipulated and very trusting, and it's going to give you it to you instead of all over qualified people. He showed me all the credentials he owns of. He already put 5 million into renovations. I just want to live in a commune. He has the first $5 bill ever produced. Sure he does. You hang around, well, he may, because we know what kind of people do this kind of stuff. You hang around with shady people. Traffickers and con people will never seem like they are. That's how they get people. You do not have good judgment of people, and everybody knows that but you. It's important that I tell you this now, even if it hurts your feelings, but you can't see a lot of things that we can. You make excuses for people when you want things to be a certain way, even if it doesn't make sense, and that's not responsibility. She says, seems like he thinks he has the upper hand because all of that is super cool, but that doesn't mean he's higher than anyone. What does that mean? I've already been sex trafficked. Wow. The world is not free. That is not how it works. You don't just get things for free. Even if everything has a price, why would this man who seems to have everything want to just give you? There's a lot of these, by the way. um, there's something he needs to get out of it, which is why I never understand how you can be so trusting of people. Well, she says cash rules everything around me. Cream, they could get the money. I'm kidding. I just want to live in Vietnam. Oh my gosh, not Vietnam. Do not go to Vietnam. You're not listening, and I cannot stop you. I can only try and warn you, and at least I tried. If you had anyone else in your life with any sense at all, they would tell you the same thing. So I appreciate you looking out for me, but I don't think you understand. I know what I'm getting myself into. No, I don't think you do. Bad things happen to you because you trust everyone. It's better than prison. Not anymore. Don't I trust you? No, no. Do you know that sex traffickers' main way to get girls, they look for people who are in vulnerable positions who need something, and that's how they draw them in. She says you're one of the onlys. Says it's not normal. Don't be afraid. So don't seem to be afraid of being trafficked. Said something about the prostitute being in debt. She calls her vulnerable. She says she's not. You're easy prey. You're so trusting, and you're in debt, so they could have something that offer you. She says, I just get mistaken for being crazy when in reality, I'm just really passionate about those who love. But I know I need to put more energy into myself. I hold myself to a higher degree. Obviously, you don't. You can't call me easy prey. I have stories. And he quotes a bunch of stuff that makes you easy prey. You have stories because you're easy prey. You put yourself in these situations. They happen to you because of the choices you made instead of being safe. I literally rested my case if you have stories because it's exactly none of us people who are safe and responsible and make good choices have stories like that. Exactly. A man shows up and says he's going to make you a millionaire. You're going to own Sacramento and travel the world for free. That makes total sense, right? It's called exploitation. Maybe a lot of my stories was something I was pretty disposed, not all of them, but some of them most definitely. You can't blame that on. Can't blame everything on me. I'm not playing the victim. I'm just telling you. I know how to move. It took a while, but now, yeah, right, you do. Oh, thank goodness, it's almost done. When it comes down to it, it's just about the people you hang out with. Just think about it. Would any of it happen if you didn't know him or her, whatever? There's so many things you don't know about me. You didn't even take the time to try to know. Doesn't matter what you know. You don't put yourself at risk at this. Um, keeps telling her it's a bad idea, and then tells her to do what she wants, which she's going to do anyway. You can't do anything. I mean, you cannot do anything. You have your boundaries. You can't control what other people do. Brief history on her. She's been on to hang out with really shady known. I think it's known to hang out with really shady people. Not being able to see who they are blatantly are. She makes excuses for everyone, even if they're literally evil. She even ditched me and all of her real friends to hang out with stupid people because she wants to party every day. Even when they all end up screwing her over, she never realized who her friends were. Because she trusts everyone, she gets mixed up with people who promise her things like older men and scammers. She meets these people through her dumbass friends and she just trusts everyone. I get these messages. You can tell she has a bad feeling in the messages, and I know she messaged me because she wanted to know what I think. She always messaged me when she doesn't know what to do, but she just wants to be true so bad. She keeps making mistakes to validate it and rambling on about how she knows what she's doing. I'm exhausted dealing with her, and I cut her out a long time ago, but she's going to end up in a very bad place, and I feel guilty if I ignored it. And it wouldn't surprise me. I know people who made very, very bad, poor decisions their entire life and did end up murdered. So a lot that happened, but when you're getting this bad, it happens. The Post CV says this person is going to have a bunch of fraudulent companies put in her name, leaving her to deal with authorities when she gets left with a mess. Yes. OPS for elaboration. Witty Fix says basically just what it says on the tin. They say they want to make her a manager, and that will involve setting it up so that on paper, she's the person who's legally responsible for the business. Then through that business, they do crime. Maybe fraud or renting out apartments that don't meet code or money laundering or any number of things. They take the profits, and when the feds come knocking, it'll be on your friend's door. Yeah, I had a coworker whose daughter was caught in a fraud scheme because she fell for something like this, and she went to jail for a couple of years because she did something for somebody else that she shouldn't have been doing. Zephyr Cow says she mentioned that she's been promised management of a chunk of Sacramento. Sacramento is actually a hub of sex trafficking. Your Sacramento, Alameda, and Los Angeles trafficking triangle. If she's in Sac, she might end up needing resources. I recommend Community Against Sexual Harm. That's good to know. Comfortable Car says, what in the absolute delusion did I just read? OP says, right dude, what the wang. Apple Sniffer says, can you look into her getting sectioned? Her messages make it sound like she's delusional and a danger to herself. Some inpatient time with a mental health theme could help. Yeah. One Sparrow says, I said this somewhere else, but even mentally ill and making bad decisions isn't enough to involuntarily commit people. For instance, someone in a in a manic phase who is spending all their money and having risky sex would be difficult to involuntarily commit. I mean, social work and regular have discussions about sectioning, as it's called in my state. There's two kinds, either straight mental health or drug addiction. But while it's not hard to get someone on hold to be evaluated, the bar to keep them past 72 hours is very high. Exactly. Can't just keep people imprisoned that haven't been through a system. And people are free to do what they want, even if they're a little loophole. Unless they're a harm to themselves. Like, and I don't mean necessarily physically, I mean like suicide themselves or somebody else. Or, really harm somebody else. You have to let them live their lives and find out on their own because we can't do that. People have freedoms. This is from Entitled Parents, and it's entitled, My Parents Want My Sister to Move In With Me. That sounds awful. I'm the oldest of three children. I have one sister, 19 female, and one brother, 17 male. My sister attends the same university as me. She lives in a dorm, and I do not. I have an amazing deal. When I was a freshman, I became part of a church youth group. Ugh. Said church has a single apartment in the basement. It's free to someone who cleans and does other duties around the church. I volunteered for the job. I've lived here for the past 2 years. It's nothing grand. I have a bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchenette, and living room. My toilet is broken. My doors don't properly shut, and the lights constantly flicker, but it's free as long as I keep in mind of the bargain. That sounds like not a place that should be lived in. That sounds sketch. My sister, like I said, lives in a dorm. My parents pay for everything, but they're going through a tough patch. My brother has been hospitalized for psychosis. My dad fell off a ladder and was hospitalized, and my mom had a varicose vein removed. Then my dad bought some farmland that cost over $350,000 in American money. My God. Why would somebody that fell off a ladder then buy a farm that they cannot afford? We still have comfortable lives, but my parents have become stingy. Stingy. They're not good with money. I'm sorry, honey. I started criticizing my financial decisions. Even my dad accused my access my bank account. What? You're over 18, are you not? My dad accessed my bank account and called me to complain about how much money I spend. It's made me very uncomfortable. Yeah. Now both my parents have asked me to let my sister move in with me next year. The burden off their shoulders. They said that one of us can live in my kitchenette living room until I graduate my university. My dad came to visit and checked out my living room and talked about installing a curtain rod to turn my living room into a makeshift bedroom. No, no, absolutely not. But don't get me wrong, I love my sister. She's fashionable, funny, and incredibly smart. She's a writer who's had some of her work published in literary magazines. She has untreated, we get along well, but here's the problem. I don't get along well with my parents, especially my mom. She has untreated mental health issues and has been verbally abusive to me in the past. I still live in fear that she will snap again if she does on a whim. She can be fine one day, and the next she's laughing at me for being fat and having no friends. One day she says I'm her favorite, the next she's telling me she hopes I die. Well, she sounds rapidly, cycling bipolar there. Dad means well, but he enables her. He will always take her side when push comes to shove. My sister's pretty close with my mom, and she often reports to mom about what I'm doing. My mom was mad that I was losing weight, so she had my sister go through my fridge and report on what I was eating. What the heck? I had a depressive spell this semester and it was really bad due to some terrible things my mom said and did. My apartment was not in great shape. My sister came over to use my shower and saw my kitchen and immediately called mom and dad. Now both my parents are mad at me for violating God's space, as my dad calls it. Yikes. So I told the pastor about the situation, and he agreed not to let my sister join me. My family is pissed. My dad was even considering sneaking my sister into the apartment as no one would ever know. But as per my knowledge, has realized this is a terrible idea. My sister has been pretty passive aggressive in the past few days and is complaining about how she will have to live in the dorm again, and she doesn't know how to find a roommate. Colleges will help you find a roommate, dude. Live in the dorm. Why is this a hassle? Did I handle the situation well? I'm justified in thinking that I don't owe my parents or sister anything. No, you don't. Should I abandon them all and move far, far away? Any thoughts and advice is appreciated. Jesse Colt says going to the landlord pastor was the right thing to do. Pastor saying no means that you will both lose your housing if they attempt to force you to let your sister move in with you. Also, open a bank account in a different bank that your parents do not know about and cannot access. Go online to the major credit bureaus and lock your credit. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely lock your credit down because parents like these are notorious for opening credit in their kids' names. It's crazy. Ninja Mom says your sister will never learn how to find a roommate if everyone babies her. Millions of college students find new roommates every year, every day, even. Your sister needs to grow a spine and find her own housing. There are many other people in the dorms that are in the same situation. Um, Drang, Drang says probably nobody wants her with her habits of going through other people's fridges and reporting finding. Simon says the sister is a total jerk. Simon says the sister is a total jerk and not OP's friend. OP needs to stop letting that mean girl bully her into apartment at all. Whatever trouble the monster of a sister is having is not OP's concern, and the lie sis wanted it that way by being a disgusting lying snitch. RK says no is a full sentence and move your money to a different bank and deny them access to your account. Finish uni and move where they cannot find you to cut them off. Also freeze your credit. Really freeze your credit. I don't trust these parents at all. Oh no consequences. One man stands in shock as the fire he made worse burns more things. Thankfully no one is injured. This is bad, guys. Oops. What the heck? Okay, cure warning if you don't like fires.
I mean, you're not wearing it. I'm wearing it, so.
Go for it, bud.
Ow! You just cut my new fucking.
Dude, you dickhead!
Oh!
What an idiot. What did he think was going to happen? Geekmaster Flash is not to suggest there's ever an intelligent way to do this, but I can't help notice the direction he backed up is relatively devoid of people and furniture. OP says, also not saying there's ever an intelligent way to do this. They definitely picked one of the dumbest ways. He's lucky he didn't burn himself as much as a liquid slot. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't burn himself too. I was expecting that. Complex Meringue says the guy filming goes ahead before he throws the stuff and then yells, dude, you dickhead, once the stuff is thrown and the fire starts. Morons, both of them. 100%. Not for Buck says 3 brain cells all fighting for second place. Gender Flux says, sci-fi says, even orange cats with that one shared brain cell between all of them are smarter than these dudes. Mildly infuriating says, thanks to massive advances in technology, you can now mount a supernova in the front of your truck on the front of your truck. And somebody deleted whatever it was, the image. So I don't know what it was. I'm sorry. I assume it was one of those trucks with the LED lights, and those can be very bright and blinding. Mostly because they're not adjusted correctly, from what I've read. But it's help is coming because they finally passed a law. So the problem was mostly because the U.S. Would not allow them to turn LEDs partially off. So, which other countries will allow you to do. So now we're going to be able to turn the LEDs partially off. So, like if you're headed for somebody, like one one or part of one of their headlights can go off, so it's not blinding you. Maybe lower them. I don't know. I don't know how it exactly works, but I know that it works. See how that happens? You don't have to know how or why. You just have to know that. This is from Wang Yu Karen. It says, come across this lovely Karen today. It's in a community group. Yes, I could share it if you want. I'll still read it, but oops. To parents in OV8 so why did they shut out the community group that they leave the name in? And surrounding areas who have students in photography classes, make sure your student/child knows this is 100% illegal for your student to be taking pictures of animals on any property that was owned by another without said owner's permission. I have caught 2 students, a female and a tan Toyota truck, taking pictures of my horses that are not their own. It is 100% my right to have them deleted in every photo of my horses in my presence. Police will be called if this happens again. The school will be called as well. I don't think she's right about that. Like, if you don't want your horses photographed, put them in a place where they can't be photographed. Sounds like she's in Oviedo, Florida, unless for some reason she's writing in English. This in English while living in Oviedo, Spain. Sorry, Karen, you only have a single slight leg to stand on if they are trespassing on your property. Otherwise, anything that can be seen in a public space may be photographed or video recorded, with limited exceptions for secure sites such as military locations and the like. Yes. Ogamon says, pictures of horses taken around the original Oviedo in Spain would look great. The views there are mountains full of green. Little Dutchy says, if you can see it from public, it's public. No expectation of privacy. I want to go take pictures of horses now. Lexar Corona says, as a professional photographer, she's wrong. If they are outside in public view, it is okay. Also, animals have no expectation of privacy, so I don't know where she's getting this. IT Chef says, entitlement. Give me the lull says, maybe her horse is worried about identity theft. Club Admiral says, it's probably on the top 10 most wanted at the glue factory. Captain Late at Night says, not a photographer or a student. This post made me want to go to photograph her animals from public view. She's certainly asking for anyone in that Facebook group to come take pictures of a horse because it drives her up the figurative wall or over something that isn't a problem. Naturally, people are going to want to piss off a Karen without legal consequences. That would be fun. Everybody in the group just go take pictures of her horses. Ingrown toenails hurt. Yes, they do. Can confirm. Says, when my dog is pooping in the front yard and I happen to be looking out the front door at him, he gives me that, can I have some privacy, Dad? Look, can I have some privacy, Dad? Ruffian with like 4 Fs, says, I've owned horses over 20 years, and one thing I could learn is there's no crazy, like, horsewoman crazy. Plenty of my horse world friends are sane, balanced, humble, and empathetic people, but oh boy, the ones that aren't are absolutely awful human beings. They are the big boss of Karens, demanding, entitled, spoiled, arrogant, and judiciously judgmental. Blah. My 2 favorite sayings about horse folk: 1, the horse world is 2 people, 3 opinions, and 2, most horse people are crazy. If you don't know one, it's you. So if you're a horse person and you know somebody else is a horse person and they're not crazy, you're the crazy one. That's funny. It's an average though. It might not be true. This is from Am I Overreacting? It says, Am I overreacting? New boyfriend was weirdly judgmental about the bathroom situation. I think we have a picture of female hygiene products. I, 30s female, have been casually dating someone, 40s male, for a little over a month. He spent the night at mine a few times now. Last time he felt comfortable enough to go number 2 in the morning. He gave me warning ahead of time. And I mentioned I had poopery in the basket by the toilet if he wanted it. I should probably get some of that. He came out of the bathroom looking sort of upset. And he said he was unusually quiet while I made breakfast sandwiches. He asked for his to go. I knew something was wrong and I was replaying the night in my head and it really went really well. Things turned after he pooped. And I thought maybe he just felt embarrassed about it. A short while after he left, he texted me, It's weird that you made me dive into your period crap to have some self respect about actual crap. What? Seriously, dude, you're 40 years old. Get over it. My kids were over it when they were 15. Stop it. WTF, did I do something wrong? Am I overreacting to think he is way out of line? No. This seems crazy to me, but should I, as a single woman who lives alone, make my bathroom more accommodating to people of the opposite sex? Absolutely not. Even if you didn't live alone. That's cute. That's a cute little treasure chest of feminine hygiene. I will show you. I will show you this cute little treasure chest. That is cute and fine. What is his problem? I wish I'd have thought of something like that back in the day. General Restaurant says, a man in his 40s that feels emasculated by the size of a tampon is not relationship or even booty call material. Elysian says, if he's not mature enough to endure venomous hygiene products existing around him, he is not mature enough to handle somebody's lady bits. Exactly. I have no idea, answers, I have 2 sons. One is 8, the other is a teenager. Neither reacts like this to menstrual products in the bathroom, and I would feel like I failed at parenting if they did. It's like getting mad because OP has toilet paper. Sparks Girl says, for real, my sons grew up with 5 sisters. The oldest one used to carry tampons and pads in his backpack in case a girl at school had an emergency situation. I wouldn't be surprised to find out he has a small stash in his apartment now. The littler one was asked at 2 or 3 what do we do each other, and his baby answer was throw chocolate and go camping. Throw chocolate and go camping. They were more mature about it at toddler age than this dude currently. The Bo Squatch answers, when I got my first apartment by myself, I had a small stash of hygiene products for women that came over, and I thought it was a nice thing to do. For years, I basically got high fives from women having them there. I had a little caddy in the back of my toilet with Band-Aids, toothbrush, lotion, and there were 2 pads and 2 tampons that I got from my sister. If any of them vanished, I'd buy some from the store and restock it and toss the rest under the sink. Then I started dating this girl, and by weird coincidence, she just hadn't been to my apartment for the first few months of us dating. One night, we were out later, and she asked to crash at my place because it was close to her work. We get home, we have some fun, and then she goes to the bathroom in 30 seconds, screams at me, throwing tampons at me, and telling me I'm a man whore if I have tampons for other bitches in my house. He can't have female friends either? What the heck? I can date them and wing them all the way off, blah, blah, blah. And she storms out of my house drunk as hell in a t-shirt and my boxers carrying only a bottle of wine that she brought. She's so mad she leaves her purse and clothes behind. What an idiot. This was in the olden days before cell phones were widely popular. So she just drives off and I didn't hear from her for weeks. Eventually, she drops by to pick up her crap and she tells me she's never met a worse person, blah, blah, blah. I was clearly cheating on her the whole time. It was so baffling. See, there are women that are crazy too. More men, but there are women. Piliudis says, NOR, if this masculinity is so fragile that he can't handle needing to touch period products, then he shouldn't be having sex at all. Big Himbo says, what's always wild to me is that these products aren't even used. They're clean and in sanitary wraps. I would get it if there was just a bloody tampon lying around, but they're literally wrapped sanitary items he doesn't even have to actually see because there's colorful packaging around them. You don't see men freaking out about seeing band-aids, even though they're basically the same thing, just an item to collect blood. LOL True says he's being reminded that her vagina was not exclusively built for his enjoyment and it makes him feel weird. The literal thought of her body disgusts him outside of the context of sexual conquest. Pure incel level crap. 100%. Yeah, that guy's nuts. Dump him. Dump him. Okay, we have another not safe for work thing. Confession. It's from our subreddit confession entitled IBS caused my building to evacuate during a midterm exam. Wow. Look, I feel. Sorry. Look, I feel really guilty I didn't fess up, but if it was you, you'd be really embarrassed too. Basically, 20 female, have astoundingly bad IBS. My biggest issue is eating a trigger food and having horrible gas. I'm talking the type that burns all the way out and smells like rotten eggs and lingers. One of my worst triggers is garlic. My best friend made me some pre-exam pasta, and bless her heart, did not tell me the amount of garlic she put in there. Next morning, I'm sitting in my exam room, and I feel the bubble guts. I excuse myself to the bathroom, but they come back 5 minutes later. Going once or twice to the bathroom during an exam is fine, but if I keep doing it, it's going to look suspicious, and I'm going to run out of time to finish. So I sit down and start letting out silent ones to alleviate the pain. Of course, they smell like utter egg salad crapification gas. It doesn't take long for people to look up and start making faces. Eventually, the teacher comes by, catches the smell, and begins to ask if someone's spraying something, has food in their bags, etc. Silence, especially for me. At this point, I was on the verge of tears. I was so embarrassed and scared. Eventually, we were close to the chem labs. She calls maintenance and makes us all evacuate the building. Thinking it was a gas leak from the labs. She sent us home since more than half of the period was gone by then, and we got new exams the following week. I went home and cried. I really didn't know what to do, and so many people were mad about their exams. I wouldn't be mad. You have an extra week to study for the exams. That sounds like a win-win to me. Hospital Few says causing an evacuation is top tier stuff. Have you ever thought about going pro? Hope he says I'm pretty good about clearing my family out of a room on a bad day, if that counts. All you gotta do is eat a little garlic, which is delicious. So opposite says I'm not mad. I was doing pretty bad, and now I have more time to study. Hope he says that was my train of thought. I got a lot of people in my class who take sciences a bit too seriously, though. Yeah, that was my thought. Siesta says you should look into getting accommodation from the school. IBS can cause extreme discomfort and definitely affect academics. You could literally get an accommodation to be given permission to use the restroom as much as you want without suspicion and perhaps extra time on tests. Obviously, probably wait a little while before requesting and submitting to your professor. Otherwise, it may be obvious what happened. OP says, judging by these comments, I clearly need that and a real specialist. Yes, you do. Agreed, definitely going to be my next semester request, though. HR says, I worked for a gastroenterologist group for 15 years. They can seriously help. Personally, it sounds like you should look into something called SIBO, small intestine bacterial overgrowth, as a potential root cause of your IBS. There's a protocol to follow. Gut targeting antibiotic called Xifaxan, and then probiotics and zinc to heal the gut afterwards. It may be life changing for you, LP. I should contact her about something. Next, I have best of Reddit updates. It says TIFU by chasing diagnoses for 35 years, and the answer was my dinner. I can't remember the first word, but it's TIFU. It says for today I effed up. I knew it was a subreddit. I'd heard of it before. Original post January 21st, 2026. So this is brand new. Let me start by saying this is a TIFU that spans 35 years. When I was 7, I started getting painful swelling in my neck throat on a road trip with my cousins. Everyone assumed I was just getting sick, that some sun and time would clear it up. I remember it vividly because it was so uncomfortable I could barely eat. I dealt with it for about a week before I got back home and told my parents, and they took me to a pediatrician, poked around, and told my mom I had nuts despite being vaccinated. Awesome. That can happen. If the vaccine doesn't take for some reason, it can happen. Um, my daughter knows somebody who had chickenpox 3 times as a child because it just wasn't working. And if you have measles, it resets your whole system so you can get everything again. It eventually went away until about 10 when it happened again. New doctor, fresh out of school, said there's no way this is mumps. Sent me for imaging and testing. Everything came back inconclusive. The new conclusion that it was psychosomatic, and I got funneled into years of therapy appointments about why I couldn't just let it go while I was attention seeking. I don't think that's how attention seeking works. How do you cause your body to swell up? That's not attention seeking. That's crazy. Maybe it was ADHD, etc. The sensation never truly left. It just fluctuated in severity. Fast forward to 19, I'm in the military and at home on leave, visiting friends and family. It's been bothering me for 12 years at that point. I rode with a buddy to the spirit store. It was below freezing and his truck heater had the thermal output of a mouse fart. We grabbed coffee before heading back. I took one sip and felt something in my throat neck move like inches. I started coughing like crazy and hacked out a tonsil stone about the size of a popcorn kernel. I had no idea what it was at the time, so I wrapped it in tissue and brought it home. My parents immediately recognized it. I was relieved and figured out that had to be the end of it. It wasn't. Fast forward to about 32. I've got kids, a wife, a career. Managing tonsil stones mostly worked, but I still had that persistent lump in the throat feeling almost all the time. I finally saw an ENT in the city we had just moved to. He basically said, "Forget the tonsil stone routines. Let's just take your tonsils out." I was 1000% on board. No more weird mouth washes, brushing like a crazy person, avoid inserting foods. I was ready to be done. Surgery happened. Recovery was insane. Blood, a backwoods ER, fentanyl for minor pain, and a hospital that looked like it had 10 total people in it. But hey, the tonsils were gone, except the lumpy feeling was still there. I assumed it was phantom pain from the surgery and tried to live with it. We moved again to a bigger city, and I went for what I thought was my 100th opinion. More tests, appointments, the conclusion allergies. I did 3 years of allergy shots, still felt it. At that point, I was completely defeated. Everyone either thought I was nuts or drug seeking. Even my family still treated it like a mental health. I gave up. Then yesterday, my youngest made taco rice for dinner. I'm sitting there eating like a pig, and suddenly I bite down on something very hard about the size of a marble. I spit it out in a napkin, and it's a bone, like a chunk of bone. My first thought was, how the heck does a bone like that end up in ground beef? Then it hit me. The lumpy feeling was gone. For the first time in 35 years, no swelling, no pain, no persistent lump sensation, no mumps, nothing, just normal. Wow. Before comments, no, I haven't had imaging since I'm booking an ENT follow-up because this is insane. Yes, I kept it, bagged it, because nobody would believe me otherwise. I get that it could have been lodged somewhere weird, tonsillar area, throat pocket. I'm not claiming medical magic. Just that this happened exactly like I described. I also get it that it could be something other than a bone. That's why I saved it. And here's the proof. They did upload I don't know what that is, but that looks like a significantly sized coin. And this is what came out of his poor guy's throat. Just wild. Wild in the wilderness. Oops. I just did something bad. Luckily, we can get it back. Okay. I don't know why that opened in a new thing. Relevant comments. I wonder if you lost a tooth way back and swallowed it and it got stuck in one of the many folds in your throat. Still weird how no one wanted to do more imaging of your throat, especially as a child. Tooth being somewhere it should have glowed on an X-ray. Glad you got relief finally. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do imaging. Like nowhere you been, it doesn't imaging. uh, OOP says, "Holy crap, this might actually be it. It's kind of a dead tooth shaped in size. I'll bring this up at my appointment. Go look at the pic I posted." Another reply. Oh, that's why, because it was a reply. I don't know what that's supposed to say. Says. Yeah, that looks like a baby tooth that has a couple of decades of rot and such wrapped around it. Kids swallow their teeth all the time. You may have just been one of the very, very small percentages that did not follow the esophagus down to the stomach. I'm just someone who's fascinated by weird medical LOL. Definitely bring it up with your doctor and get it tested. Yeah, for sure. So cool. I'm glad you finally have the relief these years later. Please update us. Let us know. Um, Costco vodka fancier says calcified tonsil stone. And somebody else says this is what I'm thinking that when he had his first allergic reaction, his body never got rid of it, and it was a pocket in the musical arwa off the main tonsils, etc. I have like small tonsils where I get tonsil stones is actually these little pockets that are behind side back of the tongue in my throat, not the actual tonsils. My partner has huge tonsils and regularly gets tonsil issues, etc. Versus I don't, but when I do, it's always my little tonsils clear up quick. But the area below takes longer to hack up, like weeks, if not months. My daughter hooked up tonsil stone. I had no idea what it was. I don't have tonsils. I haven't since I was 7. My husband doesn't either, so he doesn't get them either. Flogman says, "Hello, I'm a dentist. It's an odd color for a piece of bone that has come loose from a structure in the body, but I'm thinking about your sensation of this object over the years and kind of moving makes me wonder if you accidentally aspirated some object back when you were a kid and maybe you thought it came out, but it never actually did, but it was so flat that you could still breathe and not obstruct your airway. It was so kind of irregularly shaped that it couldn't easily just be coughed up. Did the ENT ever look down your trachea or larynx? Also, bone, when you look it up close, is typically very porous, almost like a sponge. It has lots of holes in it, and any chance we get a really close up picture of this object." And Zimagati says, "I can't imagine he would have had his own living bone in his throat. I have to assume that his dead bone would have disintegrated by now. I bet it's plastic part of a toy or the cap from something. I don't think plastic shows very well on imaging." Oh, he says, "Strong possibility I chewed on stuff like crazy as a child. I'll bring this up during my appointment as well." It's good that he's getting all this advice about stuff that it could possibly be. I think that's a good idea. Zimigati says they're going to examine it under a microscope inside circa 1982 Hasbro. OOP says, "I mean, that would be pretty epic. 100% going to reach out to Hasbro if that's the case. Hasbro has some of the most durable products a kid could want. Guaranteed to last 35 years embedded in soft tissue and for your money back." Update 1, January 28th, 2026. Update. I had a doctor send it off for pathology to see what it was and make sure it's nothing to be worried about. They did cut into it, and you can clearly see it's some kind of base layer covered in 35 years of other crud. Checked out my throat and could see pretty well clearly where it came from. Nurse and doc seemed to think that something organic, maybe a fishbone or a scale, but left and did not dismiss the 1982 Hasbro idea. I should hear back on what it is in the next few days. Also, shout out to the staff at the ENT office who got it kicked out of this post and the replies. Update 2, February 3rd, 2026. Winner. Pathology stated it's a fragment of a tooth. Thinking back, I had a lot of baby teeth pulled as a kid because they just wouldn't fall out. Wondered if one broke and a chunk vanished, and that's where it came from. That's possible. It was too far gone to identify what tooth it might have been from. Oh, of course it was. It's been 35 freaking years. I've never had major dental issues outside of not losing a teeth like a normal kid. No cavities, no gum issues, nothing. Wow, I'm glad he found out that it was a tooth, despite what that other guy said. Torrential Wax says, my dad had something similar to this. He called it a zanker or a zenker. It was a flap that opened near his vocal cords or turned into a pouch, and food things would get stuck in it. It caused him to experience an awful sensation where his throat would kind of tense up like an attack. This was years ago, and he had to have two surgeries to correct it. I drove him to both. After one of them, the surgeon showed me pictures of the stuff they found. Entire pills that ended up in the pouch. They didn't dissolve or anything. Wanging crazy. Cantata says, "Oh, that's Zenker's diverticulotum. You have muscles in the back of your throat, but because of the way they're arranged, there's a weak area where it's possible for an overpouching to form, causing food to get collected in there, resulting in irritation. I'm prepping for my med school exams, and this helped me revise." Good for him. Ilum says it freaks me out how much stuff a doctor is expected to remember. Yeah, no kidding. Next up rated comment is from Dependent Remove. It said I had a guy who thought sharp cheese cut your mouth because his mouth would bleed when he ate cheese. Turns out he was super allergic to cheese. Yikes. Mr. Daimler says, I remember a commenter from another post saying they used to marvel about how their friends can eat bananas when they're so spicy. Turns out they were allergic to bananas. Yeah. If you have anything that normal people can, everybody else can eat, and it feels like tingly to you, you might be allergic to it. That's how my son gets when he eats pistachios and cashews, but no other nut. Raven taking notes says I was about 18 when I learned that kiwi fruit are not spicy. My mom just ignored my comments for years, and I ended up mentioning it to my now husband when we started dating. He looked at me like I had two kids, and I made a comment on it. Twitter AI bot says my sister and I were talking about how kiwis make your mouth feel tight and itchy. Our friend asked what they were talking about, and I said, the way your mouth itches when you blow up a balloon. And my sister said, exactly. Turns out we're both allergic to latex, and kiwi is a latex fruit. I didn't know that. Somebody says, kiwi makes my taste buds look like strawberry seeds. My tongue swells up and my throat gets itchy. It's good, but it's not hospital good. And second top rated comment. Oh, no, wrong one. Third top rated comment is from Punchellos. And it says, the petty part of me wants to spend the rest of my life telling my mom she should go to therapy about it anytime she complains about a physical sensation and asking her why she's attention seeking about it. But then I get why they trusted the doctor saying it was nothing, that's crazy never to do imaging before jumping into basic gaslighting therapy. Essence of Skyrim says, my current doctor is like this. Nothing I brought to her attention is anxiety. I do have anxiety, but not everything happening to me is that. Sleeping Siren says, get a new doctor, friend. Someone who will see you as a whole person and work with you on your health instead of filtering everything you tell them through the lens of mentally ill person. Yeah, for sure. All right. This is from Made Me Smile. It's called His Fave Guy Is Here. And it's Punch again. It's Punch again. We cannot leave this poor little monkey alone, can we? He's so cute. He's just such a cute little guy. Okay. Just such a cute little guy. Maybe I should turn that off. Probably get dinged for that one too. Aw. Aw. That's so cute. Of course he's the favorite guy. He's the feeder. or that dang monkey hanging on his leg. He should probably take Punch home. I'm sure Punch would enjoy it. Well, that's all I got today. Um, so bye. I will not be here tomorrow because I have to set up everything for next month tomorrow. Um, it's just so happened that since I started, I've been managing to do that on the weekend, but there's no weekend to do it this weekend. It's on a Wednesday for the first time like ever that I can remember anyway. Um, so I will be here on Thursday because I will be setting everything up tomorrow. Um, luckily, there was a situation where I thought I was going to have to take a trip, but I do not have to, so that is a good thing. There's a beautiful castle. I'm gonna have to go look at my screensaver because there's a beautiful castle on it. Sorry, squirrel. So I will see you on Thursday. Thursday. Everybody take care. Have a good couple days. I will see you on Thursday. Love you all. Bye bye, biddies. Bye. Bye bye.